What would you do if fear gripped you so tightly that it silenced your dreams, but one small moment of courage changed everything? Would you let the sting of embarrassment stop you forever, or would you use it as fuel to find your voice? This is my story. A raw, honest journey of overcoming self-doubt, facing humiliation, and discovering that true bravery comes from persisting through the pain. It's about how learning to speak English became more than a skill. It became my path to self-confidence and connection. My name is Isabella, I'm 25 years old, and this is how I found my voice in a world where silence felt safer. I live in a cozy village with my parents and my younger sister, Sophia. I work at a little bookstore just a short walk from our home, shelving books and recommending reads to familiar faces day after day. My days are routine. Wake up to the sound of birds, have breakfast with my family, head to the shop, come home for dinner, and unwind with a book or TV. But beneath this peaceful life, I've always yearned for something more. I wanted to speak English fluently, a language that felt like a bridge to adventure, new friends, and a sense of accomplishment I'd never known. English wasn't just words, it was a way to escape the familiar and step into the unknown. As a teenager, I started learning secretly, watching online videos, using apps to learn vocabulary like adventure, hope, and smile, and listening to songs, trying to sing along in whispers. But I never spoke out loud. The words stayed trapped in my mind, locked away by fear of sounding foolish. What if I got it wrong? What if someone laughed? I'd practice in front of the mirror, mouthing, "Hello, my name is Isabella," but in real life I stayed silent. It felt safer, but it also felt like I was letting my dream fade away. Last year, everything shifted. I saw a notice for a free English class in the neighboring town, held every Monday evening at the community hall. My heart leaped, part excitement, part dread. This could be my chance, I thought. I signed up, telling myself I'd finally try. The class was intimate, about 12 students, some older folks wanting to chat with grandchildren abroad, some teens preparing for trips, all with that same mix of hope and nerves. Our teacher, Mr. Ellis, was gentle, with a warm smile and a way of speaking slowly so we could follow. I loved his lessons. I'd jot down every new word, rainbow, whisper, courage, and study grammar rules like they were secrets to a treasure. But when he asked questions, I'd nod, smile, and let others respond, my heart racing at the idea of my voice breaking the silence. I was there, but invisible, hiding behind my notebook. One Monday, Mr. Ellis changed the routine. "Today we're practicing speaking," he announced. "Each of you will share one sentence about something you enjoy." My stomach dropped. I wasn't ready. I stared at my notebook, my neatly written words blurring as panic rose. I prayed he'd skip me, move on to someone bolder. But then he said, "Isabella, let's start with you." His voice was encouraging, but his next words hit like a challenge. "Would you still speak if you knew someone might laugh?" The question felt like it was aimed straight at my fears. Fear of failure, of ridicule, of not being good enough. I stood, legs trembling, the room shrinking around me. Everyone's eyes felt like weights. I tried to form a simple sentence, my throat dry, my mind scrambling for words. "I like to draw pictures," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I paused, realizing I'd stumbled, and tried to add more. "Pictures and stories." A snicker broke the silence, Alex, a boy in the back, followed by giggles from two girls, Emma and Chloe. Emma whispered something, smirking. My face burned, hot with shame. I sat down fast, staring at my hands, wishing the floor would swallow me. Mr. Ellis said, "Thank you, Isabella, that was a wonderful start." But his kindness couldn't drown out the laughter. I barely heard the rest of the class, lost in a fog of humiliation. Why did I try? I thought. I'm not made for this. Walking home that evening, the chilly air didn't touch me. All I could hear was Alex's snicker, see Emma's smirk. I felt foolish, like I'd exposed a weakness to the world. At dinner, my parents noticed my silence. "Isabella, you okay?" Mom asked, her brow furrowed. "Just tired," I lied, pushing my pasta around. That night I lay awake, replaying the moment. English isn't for me, I thought. I'll always mess up. I decided to skip the next class. It was too painful. When Monday came, I told Mom I felt sick. "Rest then," she said. I sat on the couch, flipping through TV channels, but nothing held my attention. The laughter echoed in my mind, a cruel reminder of my failure. I felt like I'd lost my dream, like I'd let myself down. I wondered if I'd ever be brave enough to try again. A week later, guilt nudged me back to class. I didn't want Mr. Ellis to think I'd given up, but I stayed silent, answering only in my notebook, avoiding eye contact. The class moved on, but I felt stuck, trapped by my own fear. As I packed my bag one evening, a girl named Leela approached. "Hi, Isabella," she said, her voice soft. I nodded, bracing for judgment. She smiled, her eyes warm. "I'm sorry about last week, that laughter wasn't fair. I thought you were really brave for speaking." Her words stunned me. "Brave me? I messed up," I mumbled. She shook her head. "We all do, that's how we learn. Want to practice with me next time? I won't laugh." Her offer was like a lifeline, pulling me from my shame. I nodded. "Okay." The next class, Mr. Ellis paired us up to discuss favorite places. Leela grinned. "Partners." I nodded, relieved. She went first. "I like the beach because it's peaceful. What about you?" I took a deep breath, my hands trembling slightly. "I like the mountains and library," I said, my voice shaky but clearer. She smiled. "What's special about the mountains?" I relaxed a little, her warmth easing my nerves. "They're tall and quiet, like a big secret." Laughed, not mocking but warm, like friends sharing a secret. She corrected my grammar gently, waited when I stumbled, and cheered when I got it right. "Nice one, Isabella." For the first time, speaking felt safe, like I could try without falling apart. That moment shifted something in me. I wasn't fluent, but I wasn't alone. With Leela, I started speaking more small, shaky sentences that felt like victories. "You're getting better every week," she'd say, her enthusiasm infectious. I began to believe her, even if just a little. One evening, I watched an English vlog about mountain hikes. I understood every word, simple ones like climb and view. It wasn't advanced, but it felt like a triumph. I smiled, a quiet pride blooming in my chest. That night I lay in bed thinking about that awful class. I used to think it was the end, a sign I'd never succeed. But now I saw it differently. It was the start. That moment of humiliation pushed me to try harder, not for Alex or the others, but for myself. I made a plan: speak one sentence per class, no matter how small or simple. It was my promise to keep going. The next week, Mr. Ellis asked, "What did you do yesterday?" I raised my hand, a first for me. My heart raced, but I pushed through. "I read a book with my sister," I said, my voice steadier than before. No one laughed. Leela clapped quietly from her desk, her smile like a beacon. Mr. Ellis beamed. "Excellent, Isabella, well done." I felt a spark of pride, like a small fire warming me from within. After class, he pulled me aside. "You're making great progress, keep going." His words became my fuel, a reminder that I was capable of more than I'd thought. Weeks turned into months. I started joining group tasks, sharing ideas hesitantly at first, then with more ease. One day I cracked a joke during a discussion about food. "My English is like my cooking, sometimes spicy, sometimes flat." The class laughed with me, not at me. "Isabella's fun," a girl named Mia said, and I didn't flinch. I smiled. I was starting to feel like part of the group, not an outsider hiding in the shadows. At the flower shop, I had my first real test. A tourist, a man with a British accent, asked for a bouquet in English. My heart pounded, but I took a breath and said, "What flowers do you like?" He understood, smiled, and we chatted briefly about his order. It was simple, but it was real. I went home buzzing with excitement, bursting through the door to tell Sophia. I spoke English to a stranger. She hugged me. "You're amazing, Isabella." The turning point came when Mr. Ellis announced a town language festival. Native English speakers from Canada, the UK, and beyond would visit, and we could practice speaking with them. I was terrified but intrigued. The idea of talking to strangers in English felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. Leela saw my hesitation and said, "Let's go together, it'll be fun." Her confidence gave me courage, and I agreed. The festival was vibrant. Flags from different countries hung in the town hall, tables piled with books, and groups of people chatting in English. Leela and I approached a table where a woman from Ireland sat, her name tag reading Fiona. "Hi, I'm Isabella," I said, my voice shaky. "I'm learning English." She grinned. "You're doing brilliant." We talked for 20 minutes about her home, my flower shop, the beauty of our village. I stumbled over words, mixed up tenses, but she understood, nodding encouragingly. "You've got this," she said. That conversation felt like a milestone, proof I could connect with someone new. That evening I joined a free English conversation club at the library, meeting people from Spain, Brazil, and Japan, all chasing fluency. We shared stories, played word games, and laughed over our mistakes. I wasn't alone anymore. I had a community, a little family bound by our shared goal. One week, the club organizer, Miss Sophia, asked me to help welcome new members. "Just say a quick hello in English," she said. I nodded, no hesitation. Standing at the door, I greeted each person with, "Hello, welcome, what's your name?" I showed them to their seats, asked where they were from, and felt a calm pride settle in me. After the session, a girl named Ava approached. "I was so nervous to come today," she said, "but you made it easy." I smiled. I was scared too, but it gets better. Helping her felt like helping my younger self, and it filled me with purpose. Months later, Mr. Ellis pulled me aside after class. "Isabella, we're hosting a community event next month, and I'd love for you to give a short talk about your English journey. It could inspire others." My stomach flipped, but I saw the belief in his eyes and said, "Yes, I'll do it." I spent weeks preparing, writing simple sentences. "My name is Isabella." I was scared to speak English. People laughed once, but I didn't stop. I made a friend who helped me. Now I speak, and I'm proud. On the day of the event, my hands shook as I walked to the stage. The room was full, students, teachers, even some flower shop regulars. My voice wavered at first, but I looked at Leela, her smile steady, and kept going. When I finished, the applause was soft but genuine. A younger girl, maybe 15, approached me after. "You're so brave," she said, eyes wide. "I'm scared to speak too." I took her hand. "You can do it. Just keep trying, one word at a time." Now I speak English every day, small sentences, but they're mine. I'm not perfect, but I'm brave. That one terrible class taught me something profound. Courage isn't loud or showy. It's showing up even when your voice shakes, even when you're scared. I still work at the flower shop, but I dream bigger now, traveling to London or New York, speaking English with strangers in bustling cities. Leela and I are friends beyond class, grabbing coffee and practicing new phrases. The library group feels like family, a safe space to stumble and grow. My journey isn't over, but I'm not the girl who hid behind her notebook. I'm Isabella, and I'm speaking. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below, what's a fear you faced and how did you overcome it? Your stories inspire me, and I read every single one. Thank you for listening. Keep chasing your dreams, one brave step at a time. Word count, ~1 600. Expanded with vivid scenes, emotional depth, and a clear arc for a long, engaging story. For a novel-length version, imagine detailed backstories of Isabella's childhood, family dynamics, flower shop life, deeper friendships with Leela and others, multiple setbacks like additional embarrassing moments, and an extended arc of growth over years, culminating in a transformative trip abroad where she uses her English skills confidently. What would you do if the people you trusted most in the world were the ones to betray you, leaving you to question every relationship you'd ever had? Would you let the pain consume you, or would you find the strength to rebuild, learning that true love and friendship are worth waiting for? This is my story, a painful lesson in desire, deception, and the long road to redemption. It's not one I'm proud of, but sharing it might help someone else avoid the same heartache. My name is Gabriella. I am 26 years old, and this is how I lost my best friend and the man I thought I loved, only to find myself in the process. I live in a bustling city with my parents and my older brother Marco. I work at a cozy cafe near our home, serving coffee and pastries to regulars who know my name. My days are routine. Wake up to the sound of traffic, have breakfast with my family, head to work, come home for dinner, and unwind with a book or a walk in the park. But beneath this simple life, I've always been the romantic type. Dreaming of a love that sweeps you off your feet. Last year, that dream turned into a nightmare when I made a choice that shattered everything. I had a best friend named Lucia. We were inseparable for 8 years. We met in high school, bonding over shared lunches in the cafeteria and late-night study sessions for exams. Lucia was the outgoing one, always with a quick joke, a shoulder to cry on, and plans for weekend adventures. I was more reserved, the listener in our duo, but together we were unstoppable. We went to the same college, majored in art history, and even landed jobs in the same gallery in Rome. We shared an apartment for a while, splitting rent and secrets, everything from bad dates to family dramas. Sisters by choice, we'd say, toasting with cheap wine on our balcony overlooking the Tiber. Lucia was my rock. She knew me better than anyone, and I trusted her with my life. One evening, Lucia came home glowing. "Gabby, I have news, I'm dating someone." His name was Lorenz. He was 27, charismatic with a mischievous grin, curly black hair, and a job as a photographer that kept him traveling but passionate about his work. "He's incredible," she gushed. "Makes me feel like I'm the only one in the room." I hugged her, genuinely thrilled. "Tell me everything." Over pasta, she described their meet-cute at a gallery opening, he snapping photos, her posing playfully. They'd been on a few dates and she was smitten. "I think this could be real," she said, eyes sparkling. Seeing her happy made my day. Lucia had been through a string of flaky guys, and she deserved someone who saw her light. A month later, I met Lorenzo at a casual dinner party at Lucia's place. He was even better in person, engaging, funny, with kind hazel eyes that crinkled at the corners when he laughed. He asked about my hobbies, painting and hiking, and shared stories from his travels that had the whole group in stitches. "You must have some epic sketches from those trails," he said to me, genuinely interested. I felt a strange pull, a warmth in his attention that made my cheeks flush, but I pushed it down. "He's Lucia's," I thought, "don't be ridiculous." As the months went on, Lorenzo became part of our circle. We'd do double dates, me with casual flings that never stuck, game nights and beach trips. Lucia was over the moon, talking future plans like weekend getaways to the Amalfi Coast or even cohabitation. "He's the one, Gabby," she'd confide during our girls' nights. But something shifted. Lorenzo's glances lingered when Lucia wasn't looking. His texts started innocently. "Saw this painting, thought you'd like, evolving to miss chatting with you." I'd respond neutrally, but the flutter grew. Guilt twisted my stomach. "Stop it," I'd scold myself in the mirror, applying makeup for work, but dreams betrayed me, him choosing me over her. One evening, alone grabbing coffee while Lucia worked late, Lorenz happened by. "Fancy seeing you here," he said with that grin. Conversation flowed. He confessed, "I feel a connection with you, Gabriella, deeper than with Lucia." Shocked, I stood. "We can't." But he persisted, secret meetings, stolen kisses in parks. "I love you," he said. I fell, betraying my sister. The affair lasted 4 months, clandestine bliss poisoned by shame. Lucia noticed my distance. "You seem off," she'd say. I'd lie, "Work stress." Hated the mirror each morning. Discovery: Lucia found our emails on his laptop during a surprise dinner prep. "How could you?" she wailed, eyes wild, tears, accusations, friendship severed. "You're both monsters," she said, slamming out. Lorenzo held me. "Now it's us." But without secrecy, his flaws emerged, selfish, manipulative. Fights escalated. I ended it. This was built on lies. Alone, therapy unpacked, insecurity from past rejections, thrill addiction. Apologies to Lucia ignored. I respect her healing. New friends, hobbies, yoga retreats, painting classes. Stronger now, prioritizing loyalty. If this story hit home, like, subscribe, share. Comment your lesson from betrayal. More coming, choose integrity.